Good afternoon, everyone. And good morning, good evening to those who are joining us from across the globe. Of course, wherever you are, we are so glad that you could be here with us this afternoon. I'm Hannah Jabber and I'm from the Probe Media Foundation Incorporated. So today is a very special day for PMFI. After years of collaborative work, we are finally sharing something that has been a long time in the making. So this is our ebook titled Conversations on Communication for Positive Social Change. We are thrilled to bring it to life and to celebrate this milestone, of course, with all of you. So this year, PMFI is also celebrating its 25th anniversary. Yay! So the release of this ebook is actually especially timely and meaningful. And coincidentally, the world is celebrating World Storytelling Day this month. So we're very happy that this coincided, the schedules coincided. So over the next hour and a half, we will be hearing from the contributors who are also members of the PMFI board. So each bringing their own voice, perspective, and lived experience to the stories captured in this ebook. So in this age of information overload, this information and fractured attention, the question isn't whether stories matter, because they do. The real question now is which stories break through and why. And even more importantly, how do we ensure that the stories for positive social change are actually heard, felt, and acted upon? So before we formally begin, we'd love to do a quick check in with all of you. So using your Zoom's chat box, please type your response to this question. So it's on your screen. What comes to mind when you hear stories for positive social change? So please go now to your chat box so we can see your responses. Okay. Stories that make people reflect and act for good. Yes. Power. Okay, so now hope. Yeah, especially at a time like this, no? Hope. What else? Keep them coming. Stories that can change lives for the better. There's also a response on science. There's connection. Okay, keep them coming. Some are responding. Stories that inspire. All right. Okay, we will wait for a few more because they're typing. Development of people in need. Justice served. Okay, there's also a response on Philippine cinema. Yeah. Stories that compel all stakeholders to act for good. Okay. High quality stories, inspiring action, and resonates with people. Wow. These responses are really like development, cinema. You'll actually hear a lot of good material from our contributors. Stories that move you to be a force for good. Okay, this is very important, of course, especially for the Probe Foundation. Young people telling their own stories. So give an encouragement to those people who are listening. Okay, we have 30 seconds. Yes, and of course, Tony reacted to young people. Development communication. Yes. Stories that move you to be a force for good. All right. The development campaigns. Thank you. Wow. The responses are coming in so fast. Okay, it's almost time. So maybe later we can check these again. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for, okay, last, give encouragement to those who are listening. Thank you. Thank you very much for those responses. So, um, we're actually very excited to share with you the ebook. So some of the responses are coming, and later we will go through some of your questions. So but now we would like to thank everyone for participating in this little chat, and we will move to the first part of our event. Okay lang? So to help us officially kick things off, I'm happy to introduce Yasmin Mapuwatang, PMFI's Executive Director, who will be giving an opening message and sharing a few words about the journey behind the book.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Hannah. So nice to see wonderful faces and names. Very familiar. Thank you for all for coming. We really value your presence. It's wonderful that you're here to join us for the launch of our ebook, Conversations on Communication for Positive Social Change. As many of you know, Probe Media Foundation, or PMFI, is a nonprofit focused on media and communication training for development, providing opportunities and capacity building for media professionals and communicators in the Philippines and Asia Pacific. We were established 25 years ago by Cheche Lazaro and others behind Probe Productions, who created trailblazing TV programs in the 90s, like for those who know it, please send us your hearts and likes. The Probe team, Five and Up, Cheche Lazaro Presents, Game Plan, Artist School. And Probe still continues to create groundbreaking content, which you can view through their online platforms and Probe archives. So many people have been part of Probe, the Probe family, including Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Ressa, who is incidentally one of our founders of the Probe Media Foundation. These familiar faces and many others are part of the legacy of Probe's impactful storytellers. PMFI was created to enhance the talents of communication and media professionals, youth and content creators, and promote truthful and responsible communication. At our core, we believe that stories change lives and powerful stories shape our nation. So let's talk about the book. That we're launching today. It was conceptualized during the pandemic in 2022 from an idea of Hannah uh, in one of our Zoom sessions with other PMFI members. Our need to stay connected at that time when we couldn't meet in person really bloomed and evolved into something deeper. We began asking ourselves, hmm, why don't we document our own stories about producing stories? And how do media practitioners and communicators tell such powerful stories that inspire and contribute to positive social change? So we're really going to analyze this. So in and May 2022, we reached out to our members and trustees who in true fashion were incredibly generous with their time, their insights, and their personal stories. And this book is a result of that collective effort. Aside from Hannah, we want to specially mention Nancy Pizarro, who was in all the interviews, Dante Gahelonia, who helped us edit the book for clarity, and additional text by Mikay De Guzman. Shout out to our board of trustees headed by Dr. Data Canlas for their guidance and support. At its heart, the publication is about telling stories that matter. Through a series of candid interviews and chikahans with the PMFI members who are practitioners across journalism, film, advertising, education, and the arts. They share how stories are shaped, the realities storytellers navigate today, and how communication at its best can serve as a force for good. Allow me to share a short video about the book based on our Zoom kwentuhans.
Storytelling is as old as humans.
Spark even yung a little bit of awareness.
Creative storytelling at saka yung journalistic storytelling.
Noise is, yun na nga,
disinformation.
How communication has transformed in this age.
Content is no longer owned. Now, it is shared. Be curious. Never lose your enthusiasm for your surroundings. Remember that if you choose to go into media, you have a responsibility.
There's no excuse not to be able to tell the story that you want to tell.
Stories also motivate people because we understand life in stories. We don't understand life in a series of bullets. No, it's the stories that make sense.
So I'm an artist, and I do believe strongly that whenever I create visuals, even if it's one drawing, they are stories.
So anything na may kwento, papatok. Ang science ay kwento. Kahit anong nangyayari sa siyensya, ay isang napakagandang storya kung alam mo lang ikwento. Yun.
Sometimes it's harder to see if one story does make a difference, because usually it's an accumulation of all of these stories done over a particular period of time that actually sways public opinion or pushes government officials into action. Usually it's
the truth can be easily bent by those who have resources.
It comes down to entrenching yourself in what your values are.
Really to rise to the challenge of the times.
There are pockets of hope and light in the media industry.
Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Bye, everyone!
Yay! So, So this book is for all of you storytellers and communicators of all forms and platforms. We're so excited to finally share this with you. And later on, we'll tell you how to get a copy. It's completely free. And we hope you pass it along to your friends, your family, colleagues, and everyone that you feel would like to have this kind of resource. Thank you very much and welcome. So back to you, Hannah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Yas. And thank you for that video. Of course, I can see like we miss Kuya Robert in the chat box. We all do. And well, later marami pa tayong makikita. And of course, makikita rin natin si Kuya Robert. And mababasa natin siya sa libro. So, before we go to the main session, we would like to invite everyone to turn on their cameras first. Yay, for a group photo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now we move on to this afternoon's main session. So it's my pleasure, of course, to introduce our president, Dr. Data Tolentino Canlas, who will be moderating the conversation or our kwentuhan. So Data will guide us through a rich discussion with our contributors as we dive into the themes and stories behind this book. So Data, over to you.
Maraming salamat, Hannah, at maraming salamat, Yas, for that lovely video. Good afternoon to everybody, to members of our board, and to all our guests, who joined us on this very special day, especially for PMFI. I would especially like to thank our contributors to the book, Cheche Lazaro, Dr. Doy Del Mundo, Doc Ruby, Vicky, and Atom. Of course, Robert, we will see him later, as Hannah said, and we do miss Robert a lot. So, medyo naantig ako dun when I saw his video. Yes. So, thank you for that. His smile is really, it warms the heart talaga. So, we titled this little session, Kwentuhan, which truly reflects how the book came about. And sort of the easy way that stories are told, in the company of very good friends, people we admire, people we believe in. No? And this also reflects really the ethos of PMFI. I'll be asking each of our contributors some questions that were based on also on the conversations in the book. And of course, yung mga questions na to may context yan na malalaman nyo lang if you read the book. So really, there are a lot of stories behind the stories here. So it will be great if you grab yourself a copy later on. And then later on, no, I would like to encourage, or I encourage you now to perhaps come up with a question or two. Maybe you'd like to share it later on sa chat. We'll try to give some time to ask the questions that you contribute sa chat and post them to our contributors dito sa ating kwentuhan. But we'll make time for that later. For now, I'll go ahead and speak with our Cheche, Ma'am Cheche. To me, Ma'am Cheche, to a lot of us, but also because Ma'am Cheche was my teacher in college. So, minsan pagkausap ko si Ma'am Cheche, kinakabahan pa ako kasi parang baka kinukorek pa niya yung mga sinasabi ko eh. But we all know, Ma'am Cheche as, ito, Ma'am, ito yung description sa'yo, this isn't me. A titan of Philippine media. Of course, we all know you as the trailblazing broadcast journalist and really the founding force behind Probe Productions and the Probe Media Foundation. Many people have said that the stories in Probe, stuff that we've been producing for over, 30 years now?
Yeah.
No, almost. Have changed the lives of Filipino people and how we think about our nation. No? The shape of our thoughts when we think about our nation or when we identify with our nation. But how do you feel about this statement? We produce different forms, different kinds of stories for different programs.
Yes.
And you as the figurehead were like you're like the conductor of that orchestra, no? And yun, how do you feel about that opinion that we changed the lives of Filipino people?
Yeah, I like all of us together changed it, not one person, not me. When you describe me in such glamorous and glowing terms, it's nice, but it's not. It's only a half truth, because what constitutes Probe are the people who made up the team. They were the ones who sought out the stories. They were the ones who placed on the table what interested them, because we were fueled by the interests of the people that we were working with. We had story conferences on a weekly basis. We talked about what is interesting today, what is closest to the hearts of our audiences. We were very conscious about the audience that we were trying to reach and the stories that they would like or appreciate, glamorous or because it make us look good. We did stories that connected to the audience that we had. So that was the basic idea. How do I feel when they say that Probe has changed the lives, or when people say that? Of course, it's on one hand a compliment. On the other, it's also some kind of a commentary on our lack of awareness at the time that we were operating. When we were starting our company, the only forms of television public affairs was the talk show. So and the news. So they were short pieces. We pioneered in the long form. We pioneered in investigative form, which was at that time not viewed as something that would be popular. In fact, the view was, hindi yan bebenta, walang manunood dyan, masyadong mahaba. The attention span of the Filipino is short. Ayaw niya ng ganyan nung maraming sinasabi. Gusto nila maigsi lang para mabilis. In the long run, and it took a long time for us to develop that audience, to tell the audience, look, this is an issue that's interesting. For example, we did stories on pedophiles. right? There was this curse that was affecting us, affecting young children, families who were in poverty, who wanted to earn money, so who paid money. This was a story that was, you could say, oh, wala namang kinalaman dyan because we don't have children that are chanced upon by pedophiles. But it affects the way we think about what is good and what is evil, di ba? So in the end, it affects all of us, not just the pedophiles and their families. I mean, the pedophile victims and their families. So in a sense, we were educating the audience, teaching them slow by slow, little by little. It took a lot of time. So in that sense, if we did change their way of thinking, then I think that was a positive contribution for social change.
I agree. When you're producing a story, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And really, especially in the mainstream, and Dr. Doy also talks about this in his chapter, no? In the mainstream, you have a lot of constraints, no? And sometimes there's things you have to give up. But the one thing, ma'am, that you taught us not to give up really was the integrity of the story, right?
Yes.
You know who you're talking to, you know how to do good by the people you're speaking to when you're doing the story, and you have in your heart that you want to do good with your story. So if ever there were things that I took away from Probe, those were some of the things that were the big takeaways, the integrity, of the story. Thank you, Ma'am Cheche, for sharing.
Just one last point there. You know where integrity comes from? It was a pleasure to work with young people because young people have integrity. You begin to lose it when you age and become so realistic about having to feed your family. But young people, they have lots of integrity.
Thank you, Ma'am Cheche. That should, I hope that resonates with the young people who are here, or those who are here who know young people. No,
yes.
Thank you, Cheche. I'll turn to Sir Doy. You are one of the giants in cinema in the Philippines. A visionary screenwriter. You have
sobra na yan, Data.
At sobra po ba? Sobra po yung contribution sa cinema sa Pilipinas po eh. Your body of work spans decades and topics, and concerns. And like Ma'am Cheche, the question was, how did it change the lives of Filipinos and how we view our nation? For you, was there any piece in that huge body of work of yours? Is there a story that sparked some conversations or responses that you didn't anticipate? What's a surprise to you?
Well, whenever a film of mine that I've been involved in is shown, what attracts me is the reaction of some viewers. They say that the film that they've seen is still very relevant, right? For example, that we did Batch 81. It's set in a fraternity, fraternity hazing, which leads to death. And people would say, it is still happening today, right? Or I did a documentary about overseas Filipino workers made in Singapore, about 3 domestic helpers in Singapore. So viewers today would still say, it's still a relevant film. So that's what attracts attracts me, in their response to the film. We did one entitled Ejemplo about corruption, and just recently it was shown, and the viewers say it's still very relevant. Now, those films were done decades ago. So Batch 81 was done in 1981, 1982. So that's about more than 4 decades ago. Made in Singapore, I did at the turn of the millennium. That's about 2.5 decades ago. Ejemplo, about the same time. So medyo matagal na yung mga pelikulang ito, no?
Yeah.
And personally, I wish that the issues that are put forward in these films would not be relevant today. So in other words, I'd like the films to be irrelevant, as far as the issues are concerned. But unfortunately, they are still relevant because things may have not changed or may have gone for the worse. It just shows that more needs to be done.
I like that.
People who watched films like this, the documentaries of Probe in the past, they have to act upon what they see. It's not just admiring the films would not be enough. They have to act upon the issues that the films propose. Yeah.
I love that tension between your work being really timeless, but also wanting it to be irrelevant.
Yes.
And so what is the in-between, no? And what I'm hearing, sir, is that, well, the in-between there is the action. What action should we take having seen these films, perhaps in art class, in film class, looking at the form, looking at how masterfully it was crafted, but also what do we do about the issue that's being put forth here, no? And something you said in your conversation with PMFI was that the stories that we get from these confrontations, of being timeless and irrelevant, of coming face to face with persistent issues, there are stories there, and they emanate from our own experience with that tension, no? And I thought that was very powerful, especially for young people.
Yeah, the source of our stories are out there now, so that we have to be conscious about what's happening out there. There's an idea presented by some Latin American filmmakers in the 60s that's too long ago. The idea of third cinema. To these Latin American filmmakers, what is important is not just the film that they are watching. What is important is what is happening outside. And the viewers have to act upon the issues and be involved outside of the theater.
Yes.
So they have to get out of the theater and be involved.
Do something.
Yes.
Wow. Yes, third cinema. I remember that. Yeah, third cinema is something that we should bring back, or we should reiterate again, no, sir?
Mhm.
Thank you for reminding us of that. Maraming
Thank you.
salamat, Sir Doy.
Thank you. Salamat.
Okay. I'm going to turn to Vicky, is Vicky with us this afternoon? Vicky Ortega is one of the geniuses behind a detergent brand, no? Yung Surf. I'm not sure if some of our participants here remember it. No, yung Wais na Misis. I hope some of you remember the TV commercial. I hope we remember that TV commercial, no? Wais si Misis, si Lumen. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Lumen, yeah, correct.
So Vicky Ortega, ladies and gentlemen, she was heading the team that put that whole campaign together. She's a master brand storyteller who turns deep anthropological insights into cultural phenomena, drawing on decades of experience in advertising. Vicky, ito naman yung question, no? How do you use your advertising background for social issues?
I think it's trying to find out, other than just telling the story, you want to move people to action. And that's really where advertising comes around. No? A lot of people have called my training manipulative. Actually, it's not. It's really about understanding what will move people to action. And many, many times there is probably like an emotional barrier that stops them from moving. For example, they say, ay, wag na lang kasi, you know, nakakahiya naman sa iba, or parang, baka ako lang. So, what we're looking for is, my dog's listening. What we're looking for is an insight about that person, really understanding the person. So what I know, this is what makes me move. I think that was the trick behind Lumen, because a lot of people were saying, I don't want to buy cheap kasi baka others will judge me. But we said, no, it's not being cheap. It's about being smart. And everybody latched onto that and said, yes, I'm not cheap, I'm smart. So, for example, in today's environment, there are certain movements that we want people to join. So, what do we know about people that will make them take action? For example, what made us take action in the long, long ago people power? Why did people go out into the streets? What moved them? Part of what I understood at that time was because there was a chance. There was a chance that we could change things. And other people being there made us feel strong. It wasn't about arms. It wasn't about having the bullets or the tanks. It was more about everybody wanted this, and I feel strong when you are beside me. And I think that's what we have to understand, people. For today's social issues, it's hard to change when you're just by yourself. But how are we going to make people want to do this? And I think that's where my advertising background comes in, the research, and not just ordinary marketing research, anthropological research. What's going to make people, what will help bring out the bravery and courage that is in us to move these things?
I love your word insights, no, and how these insights dovetail into those kinds of purposes, right? But just as a follow up, no, how different is it to sell brands versus those advocacies? No, is there like if you could put it in like a few bullet points, what would those be? And then I'll hand you off to Yas for a little bit.
Okay, number one, brands are inanimate. We're dealing with inanimate objects. And if we put a story there, they can't protest. Okay, so in that sense, it's easy because they'll behave the way you create the story. With advocacies, you're dealing with people, and you can't impose a story on people. What you need to do is, how would I say it? Excavate, unearth the things that matter to people, because when you reflect this, when you tell a story and you reflect this back to the people, then it becomes important for them to take action. There.
Nice. Thank you very much, Vicky. Super wonderful, and really a lot of insights from you. I actually encourage everybody to read the chapter on Vicky, where she also talks about how we need to be more how we can be more effective communicators. So thanks so much, Vicky. Data, you're okay?
Thank you.
Yes,
I'll
I'm
hand
okay.
it back to you. Thanks,
Yes,
Vicky.
thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
What I loved about your conversation, Vicky, was how you were also very self-critical, even about your own industry, and I really admired that. Reading your chapter, and I just wanted to point our guests to your chapter because, I don't know, I'm somebody who likes the tension of what people think they know about advertising and also what goes on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
How stories have to come together through some conflict sometimes, but also how do you now put those capacities and capabilities into something that's kind of far out from brands and from selling and from marketing, and looking at it as a tool for social change, no? Using that
Yes.
and turning it into a force for advocacy. And we're so lucky to have you as part of PMFI and you sharing that with us. So thanks so much
Thank you.
for sharing
Thank
your
you.
stories. All right. Now I turn to the diwata ng science communication. For our guest here today, kung hindi nyo po kilala si Dr. Ruby R. Cristobal, hindi po ninyo kilala ang Sineskwela. Sobra ba ako, napaka-highfalutin ko ba? But it's true, right? You were there at the very beginning when they put together the agency that eventually led you to Sineskwela. And because of you and all the other folks who worked on Sineskwela, we have that perpetual earworm nung opening jingle ng Sineskwela, no? Doc Ruby worked on that show for 14 years, no? A good 14 years. And then now, he is still working for and advocating for science in media through her radio programs on DZRH.
Right.
And she's also an educator now. Thank goodness, Doc Ruby.
Yes.
You are an educator. Doc Ruby, this is a question that I've pondered ever since I also left full-time production work, no? How can we create a Sineskwela in this day and age to promote learning and science for children and the youth?
Okay.
It's a challenge, it's a question, and it's a dream we all have, especially now that we are in an abundant media landscape. How do we do that now compared to before?
Siguro the right word is recreate, di ba? Parang resurrection, di ba? It's not the same as before. The media landscape is different. The learners, the audience are different. So recreating Sineskwela would, take about, I write about it, I think about it all the time. 4 steps. Just 4 steps. 1, know the gaps. Right now, we have only 4 out of 1,000 grade 12 students who can solve complex problems in mathematics or even in physics or chemistry. That's a problem, okay? So that's the findings of EdCom 2. So it's not just about the numbers. We also talk about who the learners are at this stage. No? We need to understand the context from which our learners are coming from. It is also about empathy, okay? Because children nowadays are getting to be so impatient about so many things because of the challenges around them. So we look for who and where the most disadvantaged learners are. Those in remote areas or even in the underserved urban areas who do not have enough classrooms, books, walang laboratory equipment, walang internet, most likely, no? Or even data lang. So we prioritize the competencies. The curriculum is also problematic. We know that from EdCom 2. So we need to probably look at the curriculum and see what concepts should be prioritized. It cannot just be one. Of course, there would be multi-concepts or even a combination of concepts, even in one episode. Point number 2, develop and craft your story using the context of your learners, mostly students, because the audience back then of Sineskwela were elementary school students. So develop our stories by speaking the language of the children now. Use their dialects, use their language, and deliver the content to improve not just their competencies, but their meaning-making when it comes to science. Okay? So, gusto man nating maging curriculum-based, no? There might be some problems because what we need now are practical skills, something that they can use every day. So, we have to talk about a lot of things, not just about carbon cycle o yung mga masyadong abstract na concepts sa science. Marami yon ha. But the tangible ones. Okay? So every concept, every sequence treatment, every script should be designed not just in terms of what they need practically in their everyday lives, but what they use as learners and as audience. The platform where the program lives on should be carefully chosen. From TikTok-style quick experiments to probably short cinematic episodes. Point number 3, build a coalition. It cannot be just ABS-CBN, GMA, or, the network, the television networks. We are working with a diverse audience, so they are everywhere. So we need support from everyone, not just about channels. We need people to fund the production of this episode. So we need people to develop the content and see what is really relevant. Scientists, Department of Education, creatives, people from Probe, people from Probe Productions, Probe Media, from the network. And of course, we have to bring in high-octane energy visuals that would really flare, yung imagination at interest ng mga bata through, again, lagi natin na-emphasize yung platforms where they are. Hindi pwedeng TV lang. Ngayon ewan ko kung nanonood pa ng TV mga bata. Baka YouTube.
Hindi na
You know that. You know that. Right. And of course, sponsors and institutions to ensure the project is sustainable. Wala pong libre sa mundo ngayon sa nagmamahal na cost ng production. Noon po ay 300,000 per episode. Ang alam ko sabi ng aming pinon, ang cost. Baka ngayon ay more than 1 million or even 2 million up. Kasi noon medyo mura pa ang bayad sa production design, sa mga creative staff, director, even the talents. And lastly, yung paano mo ba ilo-launch yan? Saan mo ba yan isasakay? The production process is always a work in progress. We produce episodes. In Sineskwela, we have to test every episode with real classroom setup, representing the multitude of contexts of our learners. And then we revise tested episodes based on the results. Hindi pwede itong parang noontime show lang na bara-bara, bahala na, di ba? Remember, we have children. They will remember what they hear and what they watch. If a story doesn't land or a concept is too complicated, we sit down and revise or change the concept, the script, the sequence treatment entirely, the way we tell our story. Finally, we air across multi-platform channels. We can no longer just be, as I've said, on television, where Sineskwela used to be. Okay? Noon ay talagang prime time sa umaga, 30 minutes. Monday to Friday. We move where the Pinoy kids are. That's really very important. YouTube, Facebook, social media, and offline community screenings. Again, I repeat, offline community screenings is very important because, as I've said, we have learners who don't have connection. We have learners who don't have computers, no cell phones. We still have them. And we have to ensure that no matter where a child is, the Sineskwela of today and of the future can reach them. So this is how Sineskwela can make a positive change now and in the future. Ganun lang.
Sineskwela 5.0 na ito.
Naku, kung ang pag-uusapan ay yung format, nakapito kami in 14 years, parang 2 years per format. So this is Sineskwela 8.0.
Wow. Pero, Doc Ruby, this will be very quick lang. Yung isang fear kasi is, if very young kids have this kind of access to social media and online, parang merong may risk din na mapunta sila sa mga hindi kaaya-ayang channels, di ba? So there is that challenge as well. Do we have a way to keep our young people from doing that, or no?
I think we have. One way is through the parents, the family, the guardians. the ones who are in direct contact with the kids. Kasi yung
Yes.
algorithm ng social media, medyo mahirap yung regulation and control. We know that.
Right.
So
Right.
it's all about really choosing the right kind of programs and content that our children should watch. And also about the schools. If this will happen like what we used to have in Sineskwela, mandatory viewing from grades 3 to 6. If it will be incorporated in the school system, then we get to choose what children watch so they can learn. But again, we assess not based on just cognitive performance, but we also have to look at the behavior or even the meaning making or how they apply those concepts. Hindi
Right.
applicable yung kailangan tumaas yung score. Nung araw ginagawa namin yun kasi TV, talagang kumbaga 1:1. Eh ngayon ang dami ng sources of
Hindi
information.
na pwede. Yes.
Hindi na pwede yung single attribution. So research has to be continuously done. Educators should be there. Researchers should be there. Scientists should be there. And most of all, yung mga creative people in the broadcast and even in social media should be involved and should participate. Sineskwela is not easy to produce.
No.
If
No
we-
children's program. is
Yes,
easy to
I know.
produce.
Even Batibot,
Even
Five and
Batibot,
Up,
Five
you
and Up.
know. Yes, kasi careful dapat. Mag-aaway kayo ng creative at saka nung science consultant or even people from DepEd. Every time, sabong yan. But in the end, well, ang ating siguro,
Purpose.
unifying factor would be our learners. We want them to
Right.
really improve on their performance and gain their interest, have the
Right.
spark. So they become not just scientists, but critical thinkers of the future.
Right.
Very important.
And I have another question, pero siguro mamaya na lang baka may magtanong din. And that's the science as story and science, and the humanizing of science, especially in this day and age. Ano? Pero
Right.
mamaya, pag may oras, baka pwede nating, we might be able to dig into that question. Thanks so much, Doc Ruby.
Okay, sige. Till the next question.
Till the next question and till the next kwentuhan. Maya-maya, no? I'll turn now to our fifth contributor to this book, si Mr. Atom Araulio. And ito, Atom, yung spiel ko sa'yo. Atom Araulio is a defining voice in modern Filipino journalism. Wow, defining voice, Atom, congratulations. But of course, you are a very accomplished documentary filmmaker, photographer, anchor, and now an author. Congratulations. He fearlessly navigates the front lines of the climate crisis, conflict, and social justice. Atom, many people saw you grow up in the media and in journalism, in the journalism industry, over the years. And, you've experienced and you've been in the thick of all the changes that arrived. What's something you learned from the early days in your journalism or communication career that you find needs updating? Or ang nakalagay kasi dito is it's no longer applicable today.
Ooh,
Things
wow,
you
that's
learned.
a hard question. That's far too generous, Tideta. Thanks for the introduction.
Very generous ang
wow.
mga PMFI.
Oo nga ang hirap naman nung tanong. I think I wouldn't say it needs updating. Maybe we need to continue the conversation over this particular aspect of journalism. I think it would be a little bit controversial, but I'll say it anyway. Parang yung old school traditional way of looking at the role of journalists, I feel needs to kind of be more responsive to the current needs and the current situation and the current information landscape. And what I mean by that is ang tinuro sa atin noon, o at least nung nagsisimula ako, may level ng detachment yung mga reporters and journalists, and that is wrapped in this presentation that journalists are objective and totally neutral to the situation. I think something got lost in translation kasi when you talk to older journalists, sasabihin nila na actually that's an oversimplification. And I feel like nowadays there's more of an acknowledgement that journalists are people, journalists are citizens of a nation, journalists have feelings and so on. So that part I think is indisputable. But on the other hand, journalists, I feel, should have a clear understanding of what their role is and what they stand for. Kasi far too often, while I was working in the field some 10 years ago, yung neutrality ng journalists, parang feeling ko naging shorthand siya for laziness eh. Parang, hindi naman ako kailangan pumosisyon dito or hindi ako kailangan mag-aral kasi that's not my job. But it's one thing to have that kind of rigor, to listen to all sides, to reach out for comment from people who are accused of wrongdoing, to hold judgment and so on. That's very important. But it doesn't excuse us from not studying deeply about an issue and then saying something when we reach a conclusion that this is what happened and this is what is true. And that last step, I think, is very difficult and requires a lot of introspection. But certainly nowadays, I feel like young people and also the community at large is slowly coming to terms that we have to have that courage to say unequivocally when something is wrong. Parang ganun. Of course, you don't say it right from the onset. That's why journalism is a practice. It's like science. You have to investigate. You have to make sure that you have all your facts straight and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think siguro parang now that I think about it, tulad na nabanggit ko earlier, something got lost in translation kasi tingin ko naman yung earlier yung mga pinaka sinaunang mga mamamahayag, wala naman silang illusion na yung work nila ay totally neutral eh.
Oh.
Pero parang somewhere along the way, I think it got to the point na mas akma siya sa panahon na kung saan siya nag-thrive. Pero ngayon tingin ko nagbabago na rin yung landscape. And when you talk about disinformation, when you talk about climate change, when you talk about human rights, mas madaling pumosisyon kasi sino ba naman ang magsasabi na against sila sa human rights or they're pro-climate change.
Yeah.
But it's easier to say your position on those issues because you can clearly see right from wrong. And I think maybe just as a final point, parang that is the struggle now for many journalists to find their place and to have that courage when it's needed.
So you're saying, kunyari, you're tasked or you're assigned to do a story on something that you have strong feelings about. They can be pro issue, they can be anti the issue, or you can be very invested in it, or you're totally repulsed by the topic. So you're saying wherever you are, you have to do the deep research and still hold fast to your position. Does that come through in the stories? And will that be a problem?
I think the first step is to acknowledge that you have your biases. And if you don't have a strong opinion about an issue, maybe it's because you don't know anything about it yet.
Okay.
You cannot say na parang parang neutral ako so hindi ko na-aralin yan. Parang ganun. Okay lang, I'll just listen to this side and then the other side. I think that's where the laziness comes in. Pero definitely, by function of necessity, like for example, if you cover Malacanang, um, in very practical terms, you will lose access if you um, if you take a strong position on the policies of the current administration, for example. But that has to be stated and that has to be acknowledged. You have to be clear-eyed about that. Na it's a question of access and nothing
Yes.
else.
Parang yung purpose,
Hindi yan,
no?
hindi
The
yan dahil
larger
sa
purpose.
mas may alam kami sa inyo. We are in an ivory tower and parang we have the privilege of parang looking at the whole scene and not take a position either way. Kasi I mean, a short what? Naku, hindi na pala short, 2023 na pala. But during the martial law regime, hindi pa ako buhay noon, pero when we look back on those days, wala namang pangingimi, hindi naman nagdadalawang isip yung mga naging active nung panahon na yon when they say that they definitely felt that their stories were to oppose the regime, like to foster human rights and so on. Pero mas madaling sabihin yon kapag past na, kapag nasulat na yung history, di ba? Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin na hindi siya nangyayari ngayon.
Yes.
We are rewriting history as we speak. So we just have to be really clear-eyed about all of that. Na parang if you withhold judgment, that's not because I have to be neutral, but because maybe I don't know something about an issue, maybe I haven't heard about all sides, or maybe because my task is to talk to everyone and I don't want to lose access. But you have to be clear about that.
Clear.
That's what I feel.
Yeah. Thank you, Atom. Thank you. Before we move on to a special segment with Robert Alejandro, I just want to ask, this is a question for everybody. And, I know some of your insights from this question are in the book, but just to share with our participants here, what is your advice or ano yung words of wisdom ninyo to create stories that can resonate with the people we are speaking to or with whom we are speaking? What is your advice or what's your wisdom to cut through the noise, and make our audiences or yung mga kausap natin, because we're always talking to different people at different times, on different platforms. How can we make them see our stories really matter, or make them see or make them listen to the stories that really matter? What's your advice? We have about 100 years of experience among the 5 plus si Robert pa, 6 of you, If you were to give a young person parang here's the golden ticket, what would you tell them to make stories really matter and resonate? Would like to go first? Let's go the way we came. Ma'am Cheche, you want to go first?
I'm still thinking about it, but I think being curious is very important. We're all aware of little kids who are always asking why, how, why. If we stop being curious, then we stop accumulating information and setting for ourselves the scene in which we operate. So I think being curious is important. Don't let go of it.
Thank you, Ma'am Cheche. Sir Doy?
Yeah, well, first, my suggestion is don't give up. Whatever it is that you want to pursue, don't give up. Read Cheche Lazaro's essay, right? She wanted to be a newscaster and she auditioned and she was rejected several times, but she did not give up, right?
Yeah.
That's one suggestion. And another is, I'd suggest a bit of, I think Atom mentioned this earlier, a bit of introspection, reflection, muni, step aside, away from the gulo, the craziness of the media communication world. Step back and see what is happening, so that you would know how to proceed with what you want to do. Like the military, right? Generals and the soldiers, sometimes when they're in the thick of battle, they have to retreat, right? They retreat so that they would know what's happening, and they would know what to do to solve a battle that has become problematic. So the same with our work. I think we need to step back and reflect. So muni, introspection. That is important, I think.
Thank you, Sir Doy. So curiosity, muni. Vicky, ikaw naman.
I'll connect to what Dr. Doy says, and it also connects to what Cheche said, no? When you step back and you do your pagmumuni-muni, think one question you should ask yourself is, if I'm writing this story for a particular person or a particular group of people, think about how they would react when you tell your story, because stories that resonate only resonate if the people you are talking to or writing for listen or read, because the moment they shut off, then no matter how beautiful the words, it's not a story, right? Because you're not communicating with anyone. So whenever I do something or write something, it's like I always ask myself, what's stopping them from believing me? Why won't they believe me? Why won't they do this action, which I think they should, no? Or I think will be good for us? And that's really the start of understanding or gaining insight, because people will only believe, or it will resonate with them, if it's something that's in their heart. They'll sell it to themselves. So I always remember one of the things that I looked for when we were doing an ad was the response of, ako yan eh. Di ba?
When
Story
you
ko yan.
identify with it,
Yeah, you identify with it. It's important to you. You see yourself in the story, because that's the only way that the story becomes important to you.
See yourself
Thank
in the
you.
story. That's wonderful. Seeing yourself in the story. Wonderful. Doc Ruby, ikaw naman.
Okay, so what makes a story truly
Ingatan na
resonate?
lang po na hindi na po matanggal
I
yung
think the
answer.
stories that we create should reflect
Bakit wala
lived
kang sound?
experiences. Especially kung alam natin kung sino yung audience natin. Kung bata yan, I normally would write for children or even for the general public, no? You should be writing for children. So think like a child when writing. Take that position, take that perspective. And we should be telling stories that send powerful messages of hope. Kasi yung mga bata ngayon parang, di ba, short-lived yung kanilang, kasi di ba yung media parang instant gratification, di ba? So, lagay natin yung realidad din natin dun sa realidad nila at makita din natin ano ba yung gusto talaga ng bata. So, grounded on their own realities. They're diverse realities because remember, kahit bata, iba-iba yung realidad. Depende sa ano yung naging mga pinagdaanan niya, di ba? And siguro yung importante, yung we get to engage our audience. Kung pwede yung kwento, hindi tungkol sa atin. Ang dami kasi mga gumagawa ng storya ngayon, lalo na sa social media. Sila lagi yung bida. Di ba? Laging sila yung nasa camera. It's always their point of view. Kung gagawa ka ng storya, whether para sa news, para sa feature, para sa radyo, o para sa social media, tignan mo naman kung ano yung relevance nun. Huwag yung ikaw lang ang bida. Kasi marami pong pabida-bida ngayon. So let's look at our audience, their context. Ang dami nila. Tapos iba-iba yung kailangan nila. Hindi tayo mauubusan ng iba't ibang mga paraan para makagawa ng magandang kwento.
Thank you, Doc Ruby. Context. Thank you so much. That's a good reminder. Atom, ikaw. What would you tell young people?
Yeah, ang practical advice ko lang ay you have to know a lot, or baliktad, you have to know a little about a lot of things, and you have to know a lot about a few things. Sa journalism, kailangan alam mo kung ano yung nangyayari, kailangan alam mo yung kasaysayan. Tapos kung gusto mo mag-specialize, you can be a nerd about one particular topic, so that you have a unique selling proposition. But I don't like the word selling, but you have a unique skill or unique insight that you can offer the world. And that's why today I really don't know what the media will look like in 10 years, let alone 20 years. So people who are, or students who are studying now, it's hard to say what kind of landscape they will be inheriting in the future. It might just be that we are all just communicators, and the lines between a communicator and a journalist gets blurred. I think that's happening already. It might just be that the legacy media outlets become just one source of content, and that's also happening already. So if you want to be a journalist, if you want to make content that matters to people, you have to study. Kailangan maalam ka, yun na nga, sa Tagalog, maalam ka sa lahat ng bagay at talagang maalam ka sa ilang mga bagay. So that would be my tip.
Okay, maraming salamat, Atom, at maraming salamat sa ating mga contributors. At this point, we want to share a clip naman from Robert. So kasali din siya dito sa kwentuhan natin. And we took a segment from that interview, that research interview that Sina Yasmin did with him. He was very enthusiastic during the conversation for the ebook. And his full chapter is included in that ebook, But again, we'd like to share this short snippet of his advice for young people.
Now more than ever, you will be able to find a livelihood in art. Even more so when I started, because ngayon with technology, yung parang creativity and imagination and design and art is even more in demand, and the opportunities are so vast and amazing. Like, for example, you can create your own app, you can create your own, and these are big businesses. Like, for example, if you're creative enough and you can make like something like Canva, wow, world domination. If you think big, yes, you can really create your own empire. It's really up to the person. And for me, imagination and creativity will never go out of style. Even with AI, even with Canva, your own artistry will always shine through, and no computer, no template can replace a human being. So I would say, like me, go for what you enjoy, and don't worry. God will take care of you, and it'll all work out. That's what I believe.
Oh, thank you, Robert. Ang takeaway ko, just do what you enjoy. And if you enjoy telling stories, then tell those stories. Just one more trivia, Ma'am Cheche. I was with Probe pa noon, and then I was having a conversation with you about how do we call ourselves? Are we journalists? Are we writers? Are we producers? And then you said you are storytellers, and you are storytellers because you want to be here, and you have something to share. And that piece from Robert just brought back that memory all of a sudden. And it's such a powerful word, no? Storyteller, to be a storyteller. It kind of coalesces that the force of knowing the day to day, but also knowing the big picture. It calls us to look at history, but also imagine the future, no, and bring that hope in the present, so that we can act towards something that is socially just, something that is creative, and something that will endure beyond the storytellers themselves, no, so that the stories have that timelessness, no, and to continue to inspire more storytellers to take the risk of making their voices heard, and to help those who are voiceless
Yeah.
tell their stories as well, no?
Yes.
So I'd like to thank our contributors, members also of the PMFI board. Maraming salamat sa pagbabahagi po ng inyong expertise, ng inyong buhay, ng inyong kagalingan, no, at ang inyong wisdom sa ating mga kasama ngayong hapon at sa mga naging kasama natin sa PMFI. So may mga questions tayo sa chat, no? For now, we will try to see if we can post them to our panel. But in the interest of time, we'll accept muna the questions via chat, and then we will ask it of our panel. So maraming salamat ulit. I'll turn you back to Hannah, our host. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat po. Actually, wala na tayong nakuhang questions but so many reactions, and I'll just go through some of them. So, meron ditong na-mention na child-friendly programming and content development is a whole other challenge. So, isa to sa mga tinitignan natin ngayon. And can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank
Yes, we
you.
can.
And there's also a comment on digital and media literacy is so important too, not just for children but adults and senior citizens. I think napag-usapan din natin to before in one of our meetings na how do
Senior
we also
citizen.
reach out, 'di ba? Kasi yung disinformation is not only dun sa mga bata but also dun sa mga bagong gumagamit ng technology.
Mhm.
There's also rigorous research plus reflective practice on biases, privilege, and positionality. Medyo marami po, so I'll just go down. And death of the author. We are writing history as we speak. So, if you have other questions naman later on, halimbawa, you can just send a message through our Facebook, and of course, we will respond to those. So, thank you very much po, unang-una sa ating kay Ate Data at syempre sa ating mga contributors sa makabuluhan at napapanahong kwentuhan na ito. This is just a preview of what's in store po in our book. So you can download the ebook from our resources page on the PMFI website, and we have prepared a QR code already on your screen. So didiretso na po kayo kung saan ang download. So as you saw in the video earlier, the ebook has 8 chapters. So the first and last chapters are group discussion. So asking members of the PMFI what to them are stories of positive change and how they see the future of storytelling. And the remaining 6 chapters are individual conversations with our contributors whom you have met in the earlier kwentuhan. So everyone here today who registered will receive an email link to the access of the ebook too. So don't worry kung na-miss ninyo yung part ng QR. So the ebook is completely free. Yay! So please feel free to share it. We would like to thank the generosity of the PMFI members, our contributors especially, kasi talaga pong ito ay voluntary effort ng lahat. So we hope this material inspires storytellers, students, teachers, media practitioners, and content creators po in general to keep sharing stories that inspire and drive positive social change. So on your screen are the websites and Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn pages. So we invite you po to visit the website at probefound.com, and we also invite you to watch stories from Probe and Probe archives, so you can view the past and the present Probe programs, which are both very entertaining and of course enriching. So we're almost at the end of our event, but before we close, we'd love to hear from you again. If you've joined our workshops or training sessions before, you know that we always end with asking about one thing. You learned what did you learn from today? So something you're taking home with you or something you'd like to share with others. So we ask you, ano ang babaunin mo? Or simply, what is your baon? So please use the chat box to respond. So I'll give you time to mull over this and please write them down. Maghihintay po ako dito sa chat box. So,
Sige, Fan.
ng baon ninyo. So, ano
Anong
ang
baon nyo today?
babaunin ninyo? Yes. So, what is your baon? Ayan. Meron ng isa. All of us are storytellers. Yes. Magkwento ka ng may kwenta. Keep them coming. Ano pa ang mga baon ninyo? Ikaw, Ate Data, ano ang baon mo? Mukhang madami no?
Ang dami. Ang dami kong notes eh.
Yes. So,
Daming sinulat.
ilista mo, Ate Data, and I will ask you. So, your top 3 baon. So, empathy is very important. Nagka-assignment ka pa bigla. Yes, empathy is very important. So, hindi lang isang ulam ang babaunin, isang buffet or so much learning.
Sige nga, anong laman ng buffet?
Ano ang laman yan? Assignment also, Ate Yas. Stay curious. Yes, Miss Vicky. Okay. I think it's almost time. Thank you. Ito pa. Pwedeng maging kwento ang siyensya.
Yeah.
So, dapat may alam ka sa maraming bagay at may alam ka sa isang bagay. Create content that matters to the people. Oh. Creativity and imagination will never get out of style. Okay, siguro mga 3 more, and in the interest of time, 3 more na lang ang aking babasahin. But please keep them coming. We will post them later on. So ang isasharon po natin ay stories for positive social change can be packaged in multiple ways depending sa audience. Kaya mahalagang kilala mo kung sino ang kinakausap mo. Yes, this is the number 1 lesson, knowing your audience. So, mas may integrity ang mga bata. Okay, never lose your integrity. Thank you very much to everyone for being super participative. Okay, keep telling stories. This is something that we want to tell everyone. Let's not stop telling stories. So, thank you very much. These are great takeaways. Maraming salamat po sa masugid na pagsagot sa ating mga katanungan simula kanina when we started. Yay! Palakpak muna po tayo. And to officially close our session, I'd like to invite Ma'am Cheche.
Thank you very much again, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. Sabi nga, magkwento ka ng may kwenta. That's a nice one to end on. Kasi nga, all of us are storytellers. And the first storyteller we ever listened to was our mother, di ba? As children, she told us stories. And we listened with intent because we were so curious. So let's keep curious. Let's keep telling stories. But let's remember na magkwento ng may kwenta. Thank you again, everyone. Please pass on the ebook and see what everybody has to say about journalism and media today. Thank you. Thank you, PMFI.
Thank you, everyone.
Salamat po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Cheche.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.